Anybody here know my name? If you don't have a name, get up from your feet. Get up. Jesus, Jesus, the lily of the valley, morning star. I'm proud and I'm hungry. My doctor. I'm you know anybody know one
What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear, a privilege to carry everything I say to God in prayer, to God in prayer, to God in prayer. It's easy. To God in prayer. Let's sing that verse one more time, like, well, a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear, a privilege to carry everything to God in prayer, to God in prayer, ooh, to God in prayer. It's so easy to God in prayer. Oh, what peace we often forfeit, and oh, what needless pain we bear. It's so unnecessary. It's all because we do not care. Everything to God in prayer. To God in prayer. It's so much better when you take it to God in prayer. It's so much better when you take it to God in prayer. One more time to the fire. Oh, what peace we often forfeit.
Connecting the community through gospel. The new 107.9 FM, W300EB, Macon, and WDDO 980 AM, Perry, Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
Macon and Middle Georgia. It's time for Village Talks with Tia and LJ. Join them live every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right here on the Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM WDDO. Log on to the Glory 107.9 FM on Facebook or YouTube to become a part of the conversation. Let's go live into the studio for Village Talks with Tia and LJ.
Is your child struggling with reading, writing, learning loss, and a culturally irrelevant curriculum? Do you want your child to be outstanding at reading and writing and also take pride in their culture? Then you want Reading Revolution Online. Reading Revolution Online is a web-based reading support program. We serve scholars in grades K through 8, and through our innovative approach, we help them build reading confidence and cultural identity development, equipping them for success in school and life. They learn about Black heroes and sheroes through captioned videos, reading selections, and other activities. Reading Revolution Online is an experience for the whole family. Do it for the culture. Go to readingrevolution.org and get your membership today.
Good evening. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Welcome to Village Talks. We are making the Middle Georgia's freshest radio show and Godcast, bringing you conversations centered around culture and community from right here in the 478 and beyond. I am your co-host, LJ, and remotely at the house with our beautiful baby girl is my amazingly beautiful co-host, Tia, but it doesn't seem like she can hear us right now. So I'm going to say her name for her. But I see her. So shout out to everybody that's tuning in with us on 107.9 FM, WDDO, and also on the 980 AM station as well. So you can tune into us on the radio land. And you also can check in with us on the live stream. If you're on the internet, on live stream social media at Facebook, at the Glory 107.9 WDDO, as well as on YouTube. And you also can download the app on the Glory on the Apple Play Store and on Google Play as well. So looks like Tia, like you can hear us now. You good to go? Can you hear us now? She still can't hear us, y'all. So Tia, just let me know when you can check in. Let me know when you can check in with us. And she's gonna give us some good news and the great news and all of that good stuff. Today is our first Wednesday Kupona episode. Kupona is the healing code. It's where we really focus on mental health from a culturally centered perspective with our resident cultural consultant and mental health expert, Brother Chuck Henderson, as well as a new to our Kupona family. She's a licensed marriage and family therapist, Miss Adrian Howard. And the last show was fire, y'all. If y'all didn't catch last month's show, it was we were on one. So make sure y'all always can go back and you can look at our shows as they are recorded. You can go back and check them out on YouTube or on Facebook and look at previously recorded shows. But right now, I'm just waiting on our folks to tap in with us, our village family. Make sure y'all check in with us. Let us know that you're here, that you're listening, on our live stream. And also, if you want to join the call, if you want to join our conversation live yourself, you want to call and check in with us, you can call at 478-250-1444. Again, that number is 478-250-1444. So, and also if you want to I don't know what that was. Oh, somebody got a phone in the studio, but it's all good. Shout out to our engineer Tony, always holding us down. If you can, please, bro, Tony, you can go ahead and put Adrian and Chuck on right now, since I don't have my beautiful co-host Tia live with us. I guess we having technical difficulties. We can go ahead and put them on. Hey, how y'all doing today? Y'all doing all right?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here.
What's up? How y'all feeling today on a 1 to 10? How you feeling?
I'm about a 7 today. I'm a little tired.
7?
A little tired today.
I got you. What about you, Rip?
I'm a 10. I'm going all the way in. I'm a 10.
You're
good
10.
Day. It was a good day.
It's a good day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Today I got to be on 10, man. I'm so happy I got a beautiful baby girl at that.
You're gonna stay on 10.
Yeah, I'm on 10. Yeah, I'm like for energy level now. That's a different story. I feel you now. By that age, and I feel you. But yeah, man. T-Car, yeah, she's special, man. She's really special. Yeah, so I think I see T has popped up now. Are you here?
I am. I don't know what's going on. Why it literally froze on me right before we went live. So my apologies, everybody. I'm trying to. Hey, Adrian. Peace, brother Chuck. How y'all doing?
How you doing, Mother Queen?
Listen, I'm hanging in there. Hanging in there.
Tia, you wanna I did wonderful introduction that and I
Oh yeah, I
introduced you.
heard you.
Oh, you heard me, girl.
I heard you.
that's,
I appreciate you, baby.
that's what's up. That's what's up. All right, yeah, but yeah, can you go ahead and get us some good news before we get into our conversation, please?
I can get some good news. So everybody, we have a couple things, and these are pretty much all of the events that I have for us for this week are recurrent events. So this Sunday, the Wellness Hug Yoga Studio will be having the Sound Bowl Sunday. If you are or have been waiting for a moment of relaxation, Wellness Hug is offering exactly that every Sunday at 4 p.m. They host a guided meditative sound bath, which is a full body immersive experience using sound bowls and other healing instruments to promote relaxation and a state of mindfulness. You can think of it as giving your nervous system a reset. You lay back and close your eyes while the instruments create a flowing soundscape designed to reduce stress and anxiety. You can register for these weekly Sunday sessions through the Mind Body app. And the location of the Wellness Hug Studio is 476 3rd Street, Suite 2, and that's in Macon, Georgia. Recurrent every first and third Monday is something for our village brothers at LH Williams Recreation Center, every first and third Mondays from 6 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. Men across Macon can come together to talk through real topics with no judgment or pressure, just raw and honest conversation. Each session features local community leaders sharing their wisdom and lived experiences. It is open to the public, drop-in friendly, and light refreshments are provided. This is a reminder that everyone has mental health, and this is a space for our men to take care of theirs. LH Williams Recreation Center is located at 325 Pursley Street in Macon, Georgia. And then we also have two recurring events through our good brother Chuck here in Cheston Community Macon. We have the open play and instructional chess at both LH Williams Recreation Center and Memorial Park Recreation Center at 4:30 to 6 o'clock on Tuesdays at LH Williams, and then 4:30 to 6 o'clock on Thursdays at Memorial Park. So if you you can bring your youth, yourself, if you're a beginner or sharpening your skills, those are sessions that create a supportive environment where young people can learn to think critically, compete respectfully, and build community through the game of life. And so that's what's happening Macon in Middle Georgia.
That's what's up. I appreciate that. I know. Yeah, we back in here, and shout out to our we had some guest hosts in here with us for the last couple of weeks. Man, they held it down too. They were some amazing hosts, and there was some great shows. Yeah, so shout out to Joe and Kia Booz.
Yes, our
They
sister.
did their thing.
They did amazing.
Yeah,
Phenomenal
that was
job.
a really good show.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they started
those are
listening in and being a part of that conversation. It was a very productive conversation.
well, yeah. More importantly, we definitely have to shout out to our entire village family because we can't do it without the village. That's what this is about. So that's why it's called Village Talks. It's not about T and I. As y'all see, we not. Oh no, we can't have nobody else. We ain't here. Nobody can't be here. Or, we ain't about highlighting everything that we do. It's about the village. All right. So shout out to Joe and Kia. So they did an amazing show. They will be back too, y'all too. So people wondering, they'll be back to do some guest hosting with us sometime soon, hopefully. And also shout out last week's guest host. We had Ms. Aisha Warner Ellen, and Commissioner Donis Bryant, and former commissioner, well, he's still a commissioner, Virgil Watkins Jr. Yeah, that was a great show last week. Very informative, like extremely informative. And we appreciate them. They're very busy folks, doing a lot of great things. So we appreciate them for holding it down for us. And shout out to our chat, folks checking in with us now. Shout out Miss Betty Williams, who's watching with us. Hey, how you doing, Miss Betty?
That's my neighbor.
That's
Hey,
your
Miss
neighbor.
Betty.
Hey, neighbor.
Right. Hey, Miss Betty,
Yeah.
come here. Thank you for checking
That's right.
in.
community. That's right. Shout out to Ms. Amanda Howard. I think that's your sister.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Hey, sister.
Now, shout out to Miss Jeanette Goff. She says hello. Hey, how you doing, Miss Jeanette? Yeah, all right. Shout out to Christopher Brown. He says good evening. He always checks in with us every week. He's in Virginia, but he checks in with us every week. Shout out to Mr. Christopher. Our village sister, Sade, says, hey, y'all, great people.
Hey, sis.
Mr. Kevin St. Louis, the greatest mural maker and one of the most fire, I got to say fire artist. You know, he's a real artist. Paints like he was born to paint. So shout out to Mr. Kevin St. Louis. He's amazing. You can see a lot of his work around here making. You know, downtown by the river. Like he's Warner Robins, the John Lewis mural, and Warner Robins. He's amazing. So shout out to him. He has a gallery downtown too. So make sure y'all support Black artists. We're all about that for sure. Shout out to Maisha. Let's say, hey Maisha. How you doing? She says, hey, y'all. Look at my sister Adrian. And hey, my new mom, Tia. Yeah. Rasul Salim checks in from the great Salim Fish Supreme. Yeah, says a good evening, peace and blessings, everyone. Welcome back, you two. Yes, it's great to be back too, brother. Yes, Miss Kaya Gibson says good evening.
Hey, Kaya.
Yeah, Kaya, she's doing amazing work herself at the Macon Land Bank Authority. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if any of y'all trying to go to the land auction, you know, buy the community back, you know, stop some of this gentrification, you know, create some wealth through home ownership. Make sure y'all get with Kaya. She's a great plug for that, and she really cares about the community. Shout out to you for checking in with us. And last but not least, on our check-in for right now, Mr. Lewis Young, the great Louis from Lloyd's Farmers Market. You know, that's where we get all our good fruits and veggies from. The great fruits and veggies. What is that, sir? Yeah, but we get yeah, but shout out to Mr. Lewis Young for sure. I seen him on the cruise celebrating his birthday with his daughters. So yes, shout out to you, brother. Happy late Earth Day to you. And Kaya says, please buy it back. She said she's begging at this point. She's begging for us to buy the block back. That's a shame. Well, I gotta beg us to buy our own community. That's
we have to get on it.
Yeah, we gotta talk about
unpack it.
We gotta unpack it. So if y'all can, Tia, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Can you let everybody know what are we talking about today on this Capona episode? What are we doing before we get to our guest host?
Yeah, listen, I'm having technical difficulties, but I got you. We talking about the impact of community on our mental health. So the impact of community in our environment on our youth, on our mental health, and how we can resolve that through collective healing.
For sure. Yeah, so that's our conversation today. In our accountability check question. What's our accountability check question? You know, if you like me too, well, hey y'all, if y'all didn't know, we do have a little girl at the house, so Tia might be dealing with some over there. So I'm gonna do the accountability check right now. All right. So the accountability check question for today is: what role does community/environment play on our mental health? All right. Now we're asking you this. We're asking y'all this. So please check in with us on the live stream. On the live stream chat, as well as calling in with us to join the conversation at 478-250-1444. It's posted right there in the comment section. But again, the accountability check question for today is: what role does community/environment play on our mental health? And with that, I'm going to be going to our resident mental health experts to ask them what they think about that. Brother, we big on ladies first, right? So we'll definitely let Miss. Oh, I'm sorry. That's just how we rock. That's just how we rock.
I'll go first.
What do you think about that accountability check question?
I think it plays a big role. It's a loaded question, so I'm trying to see where to even dive it initially. But I think that the community and our environment definitely affect our mental health, right. And it can have a positive impact or a negative impact. And so I think getting connected to the right resources, the right people, the right friend circles, the right churches, and groups and clubs in the community can definitely have a positive impact. But if you're around people that are negative, toxic, as we like to say these days,
Right.
or broken systems, or just systems that are not created for people like you, it can have a negative impact, and you can feel discriminated against or disconnected if you're not connected to the right places. And so I say it can have a positive or negative impact, but I think that the role is that we all have to get active,
Right.
and not just wait on the community or outside sources to connect us. That we have to get out here and get active. And have conversations like this so that we're able to talk about what we need, so that we can see how people that we're connected to can meet our needs.
For sure.
Does that make sense?
That makes
Oh yeah,
sense.
definitely. She pretty much summed it up, on how I look at the situation, as far as community and environment having an influence or impact on our mental health.
Right.
Due to the fact that, of course, about Ubuntu, the key Congo word, which meaning, I am, oh Lord.
I am because we are.
Yeah, I am because we are. I was trying to think about Sawbono. I don't know why I think about Sawbono, which is another key Congo word,
Right.
which means we are one. Okay. So when you look at it from that perspective, your community pretty much gives you your identity. As she said before, if you're in a negative environment or a negative community, then that's going to influence you to behave in a negative or a detrimental way.
Right.
So, and vice versa. If you're in a positive community, uplifting everyone, or resources are being shared, everybody, looking after everybody, then that's going to uplift the person,
Right.
So, but yeah, we could definitely unpack, Ubuntu. I am because we are.
Right.
So, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Now, and I also like to add to that, and I think we have a caller on the line too. So we're going to get to that caller right after this comment for myself. There's something that T and I we constantly advocating for, and that's environmental justice, right? And there's a term that a lot of people might not be as familiar with, but it goes right along with our conversation, and that's social determinants of health. Right. And and those social determinants, they can include many things. It could be your access. Most of it is access or lack of access to things.
Healthcare and stuff
Right,
like
lack of access to healthcare, being part of it. It could be, literally the environment from things that we're exposed to in the air, water, our system, our water, and our utility systems. A lot of times, not being up to par in regards to our health. So there are many different components to that, as well as crime and violence. Violence is a social determinant, right? So a lot of times, Black folks, marginalized or poor folks, most of the time are affected. A lot of times by these, what we, a lot of times we consider them to be invisible factors, because most of the time they're questioning the folks, asking them how does the community or the environment, them. A lot of times, some people know, because they're not even conscious of all these different, or causing these issues. So there's something to look for sure. Blight, Kaya Gibson, she's in there. She says blight is a social determinant, but yeah. Tia, you have something to add before we put Russell?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw in there too, when you're talking about the social determinants, because blight is one, even like the school system, things like that, those are as well. But when you were just speaking about violence, and then how often we hear gunshots in some of our neighborhoods, like stuff like that is not supposed to be normalized. Like that's supposed to be something that kind of triggers like a fight or flight reflex in you, where for us, or some of us, we become so immune to hearing gunshots and things like that, where it doesn't even have that impact on us anymore. So that just kind of goes to show you the effect that our environment can play on how we just go through day-to-day life, and normalizing a lot of things that aren't supposed to be normal for us, as for our well-being. I rather say.
Right. For sure. No doubt. Thanks for all that. We need that. But we got some more comments. People they comment on as well, but we won't have him waiting too long on the line. We'll get to those comments in a second. Please, if you're in the chat, please stay in the chat. But Rasul, Are you on with us?
Yes, yes. Thank you for having me on the phone. I had to get on the on join in on the phone because that was a very broad topic. But you all just mentioned what I was going to say was really is we bred violence from. Can you hear me?
No, we having like some
Hello.
issue with
Yeah.
our connection. It's kind of hard for us to hear you. I don't know,
Okay.
Tony.
Oh,
Can
y'all
you
Can
let
you
me
hear
know
me
what's
now?
going on? Yeah, we do. We do hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, I was just saying from the movies to the commercialization, violence is just bred all throughout, and we kind of said. I think she said one of them said before, kind of normalized that. Myself, I'm a veteran. So we just see it in the television. We see it on the movies. We see it every day. It's in the movies. It's everywhere. So we normalize that and think that's normal. And then our own self as parents, as community leaders, we don't speak against it enough. And so we had to recounsel our correct that. And it just started at home and to our leadership, hey, we don't want this out here. We don't want this in the environment. And have a better excellent selection of for movies on in the music industry, everything else. We just just accountability, responsible. Say we don't want that because it's messing up it traumatizes us and our own family in our community, and we just accept that. So, like I said, I was in the military myself, and we from the top down to all the way to the lower levels. It just seems like it's normalized, but it's not supposed to be like that. And not if we're going to have a healthy environment and to our children in our community, because that's what we bred, and then we wonder why our children respond like that, because that's what they breathe. They live it, they see it, and they hear it. So that's it.
Do y'all have a
Yeah.
response to that?
I totally agree, but I look at the community as a form of resistance. When you got a positive community, you can resist those negative, detrimental behaviors. I know
Right.
one neighborhood in West End, Atlanta, right down the street from the Bluff, where Dr. Barbara Baruti stays, and a whole bunch of just prominent individuals have been there for 50, 70 years, and then they pass it down to their children, and they still upkeep it. This is right off Abernathy. I want to say it's Queen Street, and it's a block over. I forgot the name. I think it's Pryor. I'm not sure. No, it ain't Pryor, but I know it's Queen Street, because that's the street Barbara Rudy stay on.
Right.
But man, this man said he haven't heard a gunshot in the proximity over about 30 years. A house broken into over 20 years. No cars get broken into. This is Atlanta now, right out Abernathy.
Right.
But the community is just so clean. You know what I'm saying? Like clean from all levels, mental, physical, spiritual, you see? And everybody's upkeep the neighborhood. And it's just, that's, to me, that exemplifies a true community, because it builds that resistance against the negative behaviors. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, Brother Rasul right on point with that, man. It's just bombarded, especially our youth. That's why we can't turn our back, especially the community, turn our back on the youth.
Right.
Develop more programs. You know what I'm saying? It's never enough of youth development programs to deter our kids from this,
Right.
From this element.
Right. What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah.
I agree with him where he talked about him and Tia, where some of this is so normalized and we become desensitized to this stuff, so it doesn't really trigger us the way that maybe it should.
Right.
But I think like leading with love and actually doing something, right? So it's not enough for us to like sit back and talk about it. To talk about these issues, like we really have to find ways. So kind of where he said, well, we build a community,
Right.
like I don't know. I think it's our responsibility, and it could be me, the inner activist or something. I don't know what it is in me, but I'm like, we got to get out here and clean up the streets,
Right.
and not just talk about it. And so, like, actually being able to say to when we see people out of line and out of order, being able to say to people that, hey, that is not okay.
Right.
Right. That's not how we want to live. And because we're so, I guess, scared, or people have become in a space where we don't want people to say stuff to us, I think that we have to, going back to having accountability question, in real life, we have to hold each other accountable. So when you do something that goes against the uplifting of our community, we have to say that to people. And not like, I'm trying to see, not demonizing any group, but I think if we go in with love and teaching people different things, because I guess for me as a mental health professional, I think about it from the mental the most. So I'm thinking if we could change people's minds about what's happening, right? So hey, you don't feel safe, instead of trying to harm somebody else, let's find out other ways that you can feel safe. Let's create a space where you can feel safe.
Right.
And so finding different strategies where we're being innovative and going in and doing things in light. So they like video games, but I think we can meet them there. But Call of Duty and the things that are kind of feeding them the negativity is not always the answer, in my opinion. So finding ways and things that they like, so maybe the sports or just different outlets, so that they're able to be exposed to more positive things.
Definitely. Yeah, totally agree.
Sure.
Totally agree. Tia, you want to would you
A
like to
lot of
go?
comments.
Yeah, we have a lot of comments. Yeah, we need to those comments. See what
I
our village
got you.
family is thinking about that.
Yes, so Miss Amanda Howard says, and it starts with the youth for sure. Arcia Muhammad says, true. So I think she was just speaking to what Adrian was saying. Sade Davis says, it plays a major role, and I personally feel it affects men more than women. I have never seen so many men struggling and falling apart like I do today. Men are literally losing their minds trying to meet certain standards and fulfill the duties that have been set as the role of a man. I could go more into detail, but we would be here a while. It affects women's mental health as well, but like I said, personally, I feel like it affects men more. I would say, and just in response to that, I think that's a good starting point. But I don't think it necessarily affects it more. I think that it affects men and women differently. Like you don't see, because men are told to hold in their emotions while women are releasing them, but women are releasing them in a more like chaotic way. So when like this, and even when you talk about like the lingo that we're using, where people talking about what is it? The term the kids using? I'm sorry, y'all. I'm old.
The crash.
Crashing out. Yeah, like just terminology that we're using. Like, what does that mean, and why is that our go to when we are just maybe having just some minor hiccups or even major ones. Like, how do we learn how the tools or find tools to get through stuff like that? But and then I'm gonna try to get through some more before this baby. Yeah, I'm sorry, y'all.
I can finish them
And
up for
then
you
like
if you want.
Kia says, "Hello, village family." Yeah, if you can finish them up, I'm gonna jump. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna be
yeah,
right back.
I got you. I hear, baby girl. I hear Tika. Hey, Tika.
She's saying,
Hey,
hey.
yeah,
Get on the show.
yeah. But I'm telling you, she been on the show the whole time, really. Yeah, but Kaya gets. She said, "What you see can have an effect on how you feel or what you do, whether positive or negative." Right? Was it that's good. 'Cause definitely what you see definitely has effect. Our subconscious brain. I know y'all can speak to that on how subconscious affects our consciousness. So the things that we see, those pictures, are in our subconscious, or and they create certain habits and patterns. But community, Chevis Perry says, community and environment either eat your mental health or starve it. They influence stress levels, confidence, behavior, emotional resilience, and overall well-being. Your mind doesn't operate separately from where you live; it responds to it. That's good. That's good. Kai Gibson says blight is a social determinant. She was talking about that. She said even certain businesses and vice stores. That's very true. We go to these stores in the hood. Oh, they got number 777. Number. They're making an excuse. They'll put 2 pieces of chewing gum. You know what I'm saying?
Robbing is blind.
And put groceries on the front of it. The old gas with watered down gas, messing your car up. And just so they can make some money off the machine. That's all they want. Just tell the truth, man. That's all.
Community, though. The community got to step up. Hey,
yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
It's a community. It's certain communities in Detroit. They can't infiltrate. What is it called? New Era? You heard of New Era?
Oh yeah, Detroit. Oh yeah, they don't play. Oh, they don't play.
They can't even come in there with that.
Oh, they'll shut it down. Yeah, they'll shut it down. But yeah, it take. We have to have ownership of our community, right? So I even heard you say that. I was about to call your sister Adrian, Amanda. I was about to call you Amanda. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
but Adrian, when you were talking about how like the activists in you, and like it makes you want to be the one that's proactive and fix these issues yourself that you see in the community, right? So how do you feel about that? Because Brother Tuck was just bringing up a group called New Era in Detroit. Y'all do y'all research on them and check them out as well. But just being proactive in community, like what part do you think, or how able are we, or what do you just feel in general to be able to fix these issues ourselves?
So lately, at my church, we've been talking about like our spiritual gifts. And so even if we're not looking at it spiritually in this space, like I think we all have gifts. So we all have talents or things that we're good at. And so finding your natural talent or things that you're good at. So it appears that you are good at community engagement, right? And so a person like you would do well with maybe setting up an event, right? But there's some people that had a gift of teaching. Some people some people just good with kids. They just naturally like kids or kids like them. And so I think finding things where we naturally fit. So me as a therapist, I kind of like to educate people and help people on insight and give them information that's not so common knowledge. So kind of where you talk about the social determinants and just teaching people stuff that they're not privy to. Like we don't learn this stuff just in our day-to-day.
Right.
And so that's my role. Like I like to educate people and share knowledge with people, and give people skills and tools that they need. But everybody won't be able to do that, right?
Right.
And so some people are good at administration, some people are good at talking, some people are good at electronics. I am not electronically inclined, right? So that's not something that I could do. But I think like us being intentional about recognizing where our skill set is. And it's some stuff we can learn, but it's some stuff that we just naturally do well. And I think if we hone in on those gifts and not just use them for ourselves, or like, ooh, we want to make money and we want to look good and we want to look cool in the digital age and this comparison culture. But like some of it is that we're able to give back in our own way to the community, and we're able to show up where these children are and able to show up at different events. I think we could take over our community.
Absolutely.
I really do.
Oh, yeah.
I love what you were saying though about different people having different gifts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's very important. Like everybody realizing what their purpose is, like
right?
What their strength, because everybody was born with a purpose,
with something.
Right. Yeah, What you think, brother?
Oh, I absolutely agree, and that's like collaboration. Over competition.
That part, working together.
You can't compete with me because I'm me.
That's right.
I compete with myself.
The best you.
And I can't compete with you.
Right.
I ain't gonna try to. That's you know what I'm saying. But all that goes, in a lot of African traditions, and I say that because we are people of African descent. But in a lot of African traditions, they what's the terminology for the school over here when they get the child and they discover the talents?
Montessori.
Okay, Montessori. That's truly the proper way to learn, to understand what the child is capable of. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then you hone those skills, but that's truly how they groom the child to groom the child to understand their purpose. And that starts with a healthy community.
Right.
If not, the child's in a toxic community or whatnot, the child may be trying to express himself or herself, but then get outcast. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Are they weird? Because they don't fit into this so-called, what's going on or whatnot.
Right.
So that's a big thing I see a lot in youth development. I see that on occasions with children. like especially dealing with STEM. You know, STEM is something innovative, you know, and it's something that a lot of kids aren't exposed to. So when I see the ones that really get it, you got some that kind of that you know they picking on them. Are you a nerd? Are you lame? Are you this? You that? You know, and trying to shut them down.
Right.
You know, and they say no, they just good at that.
That's right.
You know, but I think like our communities start with the progeny, start with the youth. You know, you can't have a community without the youth.
Right.
And when you see communities break apart, that's because the youth grow up and they either leave the community or either without influencing it or coming back, you know, being mentors and things of that nature,
right.
Or they stay in the community and never grow and just become detrimental to the community, you know,
right,
and
right.
violence, drugs, whatever the case may be, or fall victim to the ills of the community instead of trying to create some type of resistance against those.
Right, right, yeah, and I think, you know, in Macon especially, I think that we have a lot of potential. You know, I know a lot of times people look at Macon like, oh man, all these issues and trouble, man, making it like this, or man, these folk crazy, or these youth, they so bad, or whatever, right? But that's an opportunity for change, you know,
exactly.
and they really screaming out. I look at it like that, you know, especially with the work that we do. You know, they want transformation,
right,
you know, bad. You know, they just need to be, you know, they need to be exposed to it. You know, so I also think that our folks understanding our history, our culture, seeing Black excellence, so seeing examples of excellence, that's also very important for people, because a lot of times folks, they're hopeless. You know, so many of our people, they don't feel like things are even possible. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're like, man, I can't do that, or we can't do this, do that. I know you talk about what's you call it? It's not you call it, but it's called what's imposter syndrome. And can one of y'all talk about what imposter syndrome is?
That's the professional.
So I guess imposter syndrome is just kind of when you're in a space, but you feel that you don't belong in that space, right? So I guess myself, right? I give a real life example, like coming into the radio. I'm like, oh, being on the radio, you know, that's a little scary for me, right? But I think, so I wouldn't say that I have imposter syndrome in that respect, but if I use it as a real life example, it would look like me being in a space, but not feeling good enough to be in that space. Right. And so I'm there, but my thoughts in my mind are telling me that, hey, I'm not good enough to be here. And when we don't feel good enough to be in a space, it shows, and it impacts how we show up, because I might not show up at all. If I feel like I can't, right? I might say, might not respond to the offer or whatever. And so when you're thinking about imposter syndrome, I think the easiest way to explain that is just being in a space where you feel like you don't belong.
Right. And I got a lot. I see that so much around here. Like, I know people that they won't go even try to, you know, sign up for a job, you know, apply for certain jobs. They won't go. It's just certain spaces they won't go to. And I know certain guy. I was talking to a guy, and you know, he was like, man, I won't even go. I said, man, he was about to go to Atlanta, right? I'm sorry, it's kind of crazy example, but you know, it ain't. He's a young brother, he's like 21, you know, just want to have fun, go to Atlanta and stuff, right? And so he wanted to go, you know, talk to females in certain spaces like clubs and stuff like that, right? But he had a brother that was like in college. Like, his brother goes to the, you know, the AU Center, right? So I was like, man, you ought to go up to the AU Center, man, meet you a college girl or whatever, man. You know, oh man, they don't want nobody like me, man. Man, you know, like, man, I ain't even, man. No, I just go, you know, and like, you know, he was serious about that though. Like, he felt like he wasn't good enough to be in the space of, you know, what colleges, you know, higher education space, and being able to, you know, just be able to conversate with other people his age, you know, in that space, you know. So, you know, he'll force himself to be in certain environments or whatever that might not challenge him to elevate himself, or to make sure that he's doing certain things to live, you know, out, you know, who he really truly could be, you know. So I know that might be
that's a good example.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Because I was just reading something too about vulnerability, and what it talked about is that a lot of times we don't show up in spaces because we are afraid of not being cool. So I think you just spoke about that. And so it's like, when I don't feel like I fit in, or if I don't feel like people are going to accept who I truly am, people won't be who they are. Out of fear of being rejected. And so when we're thinking about community, like you said, like, if I don't feel welcome, in these spaces. So if I don't feel good enough, or hey, I see that the community is doing this, but that's not for me. It's not for people like me. I think it's our responsibility to make sure that we're having conversations where we're telling people like, hey, this is for everybody, right? This is for us, and creating spaces for us, for people that look like us.
Right. Right. We got a couple comments for go to you, Brother Chuck. Ask you a couple things. Miss Tina, Auntie, that's what we call it, says agree with your guest. It's our responsibility to say where they do that at. Right. It's not okay. We need to help, train, and share our resources. It's everybody. Excuse me, y'all. Had some good GNF Caribbean today. She said, it's everybody, not just the youth. That love is louder. That's real. Your neighbor, Miss Betty, she says facts. So she talking about probably something you said. Yeah, but Kia Boo says, hey everyone, that's my village sister. Hey Kia. Tell your husband Joe said what's up. Check in, please give us some good comments because y'all keep them. Miss Betty, see, I told you, she said, I love this Adrian. Says, and then Zakia says exactly with the youth. And Kia gives exclamation points. But yeah, brother, what do you think about that? About community and as it relates to imposter syndrome and folks, not feeling like when we talk about community, that can be like Adrian, we talked about before. A community could be a small space or something like a neighborhood or a city. Community starts in the small groups, right? So what do you think about imposter syndrome and community and how and how that can be challenging for us?
It's like Adrian said, you can't show up fully. You can't be authentic. If you move in an imposter syndrome, and it can start from the youth not wanting to go to school. That can create a form of truancy. They don't want to go to school because they feel like they don't fit in or they're not smart enough due to the teaching, the curriculum, or how they're being viewed. Even down to the clothes. They might feel like they don't have the proper, that a lot of peer pressure from that issue. Also, you go further into social class. I don't work here. I don't drive this type of car. I don't, things of that nature. I don't go to this church.
Right.
So people don't want to be in spaces to feel safe, as Adrian said. Then you go to, let's say, officials, county officials, things of that nature. Let's say they have imposter syndrome. So they're not fully showing up. They're not being authentic. You see?
Right.
And that creates, if you're not fully showing up, then you can't really influence or really do your job to your fullest capabilities. You see? So I look at it at the same time, that's where the community is supposed to embrace those who feel like, because you could tell when somebody doesn't feel safe. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You could definitely tell. You don't have to be super, have super, compassion or empathy. Normal, human behavior will reflect if someone is not safe or not. And that's when the community folks supposed to step up.
Right.
And provide whatever means or whatever resources to make everybody feel safe, from the youth to the elders. So yeah, it's a big impact. And again, let's say I know some children, they may be in not the best neighborhoods, right? So, but I know they're very intelligent, but they will go around their peers, with the imposter syndrome. The reverse though, instead of them just being themselves, they'll dumb it down. Like you said, the brother, go to the AU, you looking to date someone, step in this environment, but they don't feel like they can't be authentic in their environment.
Right.
So, and then by the youth getting into these negative, following these negative peers just to fit in, now you done got yourself in, something you can't get out of. And now you're in that cycle of violence, that cycle of crime, things of that nature.
Right.
I mean, I've seen it time and time again, scholars, AB students, getting caught up with murder charges, athletes, just college bound, things of that nature, but they feel they gotta have that imposter syndrome keeps them from being authentic.
Right.
And really, like I say, I'm cut it short, but the community is what's supposed to make everybody feel safe. And if you feel safe, then there will really be no imposter syndrome, you know. But then you got, not within the community, you also got the systemic racism, things of that nature. So that's a whole nother, you know what I'm saying? That's a whole nother conversation when you're dealing with imposter syndrome. Because I pretty much feel like everybody in the Black community has it to some degree. You know, especially if you don't understand your culture, your history, and your heritage. Right. You're gonna feel less than, and you're gonna move in that capacity. Right. You know, so yeah, community definitely plays a heavy role in that.
And some of it is like also when you're talking about that, I'm thinking about like code switching. Right. So like I went to a certain institution, and in that space, it wasn't a lot of people that looked like me in that space. And so I feel like my hair had to be a certain way. I have to speak a certain way. I have to behave a certain way. Right. And so it takes a lot of work to recognize, like, no, I can still show up as myself, but I still have to be appropriate in these spaces and hold myself accountable. But I think it kind of goes to what Kia said, like we don't have a lot of exposure, but I also want to challenge that, because I think that the exposure is there and the influences are there, but we have to do the work to get connected. Right. And so sometimes it might not be the whole school system that has our back, but it may be one or two in that system that really will go to bat for us. And so I think sometimes we give up the fight before we get in the fight. Right. So if I feel like I'm oppressed, or if I feel like there's nothing positive going on in the community, and also being mindful that our brains pay attention to the negative. Right. It just gives more attention to the negative because it wants to keep us safe. So like when I'm on social media, y'all know the making timeline, it can get real. It can get crazy on the timeline. And so sometimes I can easily be like, oh man, exactly what you said earlier, like, dang, it's so negative around here. But as I've been intentional about shifting the people that I'm friends with and that I'm connected to on social sites, I can see all the good that's happening out here. And so I think when people give us suggestions and people say, hey, they have this program over here, such and such is doing this, like we have to be able to take those little seeds, because those small seeds that they're planting could really change somebody's life. That's right. So even if you're not connected to a family that has quote unquote made it out the hood, and maybe everybody in your family goes to prison, or there's nothing really positive happening in your family, but there's communities out here and people out here that are willing to mentor not only children but also adults, so that you're able to do some self-work. Right. And get connected so that you can now become a positive part of the community. Absolutely. So it's like, I think y'all said I am because we are. So it's like also like each one teach one. Like absolutely. We got to pass it on to everybody and be receptive. When people tell us, when people say, hey, you're not, I see you slacking in this area, here are some recommendations. We have to be open to that, but we also have to do that in love. Right. And I want to speak to that, what you said about that we have to be open and receptive, right? So I'm going to bring the polar opposite end of this. And we probably got about 10 minutes to get on that, but I want to go through these comments and I'm going to bring something to y'all, right? All right, so Zobu says, if not for us, then for who? That's real. Kia Boo says, I feel that our kids are not exposed to too much, which may make them feel that they don't belong in certain spaces due to only being around certain people their entire life. The Boo says, we have a lot of people who think the things on the outside give them value by who they are on the inside. And that's a self-esteem issue, which I believe most of our shortcomings come from. And Zabu says, talk that talk, sis. All right. Kid Boo's says, exclamation point. Yeah. All right. So I like to say this, even to say something real quick about what Zabu's, said about inside versus outside, me and Brother Chuck, we talk about it all the time. And even culturally, one thing that's fundamental in quote unquote African-centered thought, which is just universal thinking, universal teaching, is basically that true power is inside out, inside out, not outside in. Right. And a big part of that is understanding we spirits with a body, not bodies with a spirit, which that's a whole nother conversation. But that's real. Because who we truly are is inside out and not outside in, right? And truly knowing that, having that sense of identity, not identifying with things that are material or physical, but understanding like your true self is how you think,
you know, and if you can think it, if it can be in your imagination, all possibilities come from you just really like abundance is not what you have. I posted on Facebook the other day. It's not what you have, it's how you think. You know, you got to think in terms of abundance, right? So that's something else. But this is what I want to bring to y'all, right? And I want to bring to y'all because we talked about imposter syndrome, right? But on the polar opposite end, I was talking to Brother Chuck. He told me about another the other aspect of that, or the polar end of that, the other spectrum, is narcissism. Right. So I heard when you talked about being receptive, you know, we have a lot of people now, you know, people always talking about, because we do is accountability check with the show. And people nowadays are talking about how our folks don't want to be accountable. We can't hold our folks accountable. We got all these yes men, no people, right? So a lot of that comes from I look at it, you know, y'all let me know, y'all the experts, but people, the imposter syndrome leading people to avoid spaces that they should be in so they can be them authentic selves, right? And it leads to them to now dealing with forms of narcissism. So now you're in spaces that you shouldn't be in, and now you feel like you're more in a space that maybe you shouldn't be in, and it's caused you not to be receptive when people are trying to let you know, hey, look, you need to be where you're supposed to be at. Is that, I mean, how do y'all feel about that? I don't know. That just, you know.
Y'all don't like narcissism because I'm for real, it has become such a buzz. Yeah, like just a buzzword.
Right.
And sometimes, so like people can have like big egos and be arrogant and cocky and not be narcissistic.
Okay. So what's narcissistic from a professional standpoint?
Child, I have to pull out my phone and get the criteria, because there's a criteria, right? And so I wouldn't even be able to call out the criteria just off the back of my head. But like having a big, so this grandiose personality where you think you better than, like you think you better, you have this grand. So like when you think about narcissism, or when I think about it right off the bat, like my image is where some people have like this God complex. Right. So that they're greater than everybody, their thoughts are better than everybody.
Right.
And so, but that's only one component of like being narcissistic. Right. And so I'm really careful when we're using that, because like I said, I would have to pull up my phone to even call out the whole criteria of having a narcissistic personality.
I got you.
Right. But I think to the point that you're making when we're talking about having these where I've shrunk, but I'm going around people that make me feel big. Is that kind of what you alluded to?
Right.
And so I think that people can be calculated because of their own insecurities. And so I don't think I'm good enough to be in that space, but I'm gonna get around these people who make me feel big and make me feel good about myself.
Right.
And I may even be abusive to these people in this group or manipulate this group, but I wouldn't say that they're narcissistic, but they may have some ego and arrogance about themselves that is not healthy.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Oh, for sure. So
I'm gonna still pull it up for you though.
Okay, yeah, for sure. What you think about that, brother?
It's like you said, the polar, you know, just to generalize in a polarized manner. You know, imposter syndrome is when you are capable, but you feel as if you're not.
Right.
Now, narcissistic is a trait like borderline personality, where you're unstable, right? And you know you're unstable from within, but you try to portray as you're something on the outside, this grandiose, this like she said, God complex, I'm better than everybody. That's why, and this, we're talking, you know, generalizing from a polarized perspective of both ends,
right?
You know, so, but narcissist, from my, you know, studies, understanding, being a narcissist, borderline personality, they feel within that they're not good enough.
Right.
So they put this mask on.
Right.
And they never want to take that mask off. A lot of narcissists don't even go to therapy because they don't want nobody to tell them, you know, they don't want no correction. They don't, because deep down that feels like they're gonna be discovered, the true self that they feel about them. Just like Joe said, like we, you know, speak on, it's in the inside. That's what counts.
Right.
You know, and just like building a community is predicated upon values. Where the values come from, the inside. So if you see a piece of paper on the ground, your values gonna allow you to pick it up.
Right.
You see, and then when you get that spread throughout the community, then those values resonate with each individual, then you have a true community.
Absolutely.
You see?
Absolutely.
So I guess like we're just talking about polarities on how everything begins from within, you know. And if you got a person who, just like the bully, a person who's a bully, inside they feel like they weak. You see?
Right.
They feel like they're very weak. You know, promiscuous men who are very promiscuous, or women, whoever, I don't know. But they deal with a lot of men, deal with a lot of women because deep down they feel like they weak. You see what I'm saying? That strokes the ego, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But I digress. We ain't gonna go on that subject.
That's what Village is about, because Kid done came with the criteria.
All right, we'll call it out for us.
It's pretty extensive, but I'll read it. And so just in short, so when we're talking about criteria, it's kind of you have to check off so many of these, right?
Right.
So when we're talking about narcissistic personality, it says that it's a pervasive pattern of grandiosity, need for admiration, a lack of empathy, as shown by 5 or more of the following. 1, the grandiose sense of self-importance, exaggerates achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without matching accomplishments, preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, ideal love. 3, believes they are special and unique, can only be understood or should be associated with or other special high status people or institutions. Requires, I'm trying to see how I stroll.
Well, we got a couple minutes. So number 4 is requires excessive admiration. That's number 4. Number 5, entitlement, unreasonable expectations of favorable treatment, believes rules don't apply to them or others should give them what they want. 6, interpersonally exploitive, takes advantage of others to achieve their own ends. 7, lacks empathy, unwilling or unable to recognize or identify the feelings and needs of others. And 8, often envious of others or believes others are envious of them. And 9, it shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes.
Yeah. And so when you see all of that, a lot of it is these people really need help.
Yeah, they need help.
They really need help, and they don't. A lot of times don't realize it. So it's a personality disorder. So I just wanted to say that because I know we get so like caught up on the terms, and people will say, "Oh, my ex is narcissistic," and it's like maybe they did something that was arrogant or something that wasn't appropriate, but it doesn't really negate to them being narcissistic. Right. But I think in general, what we're talking about is it's a self-esteem issue. So back to your point, we have to get and deal with the inside. So when we deal with the inside, we show up better in our communities.
Right.
And when we show up better in our communities, the community flourishes.
Right.
Look good. And I think she ended our show very well.
Yeah, that's it.
We only have like 1 minute left in the show. I think you definitely, that right there is key right there. When we show up as our authentic self, then our communities become better as a result of it. You know.
One step at a time.
That's it. And Brother Chuck, Chester Community, y'all can catch him with Chester Community, Brother Chuck on all platforms. Ain't that right?
No, just Instagram.
Just Instagram?
Yeah, for the Macon chapter. The Athens and Atlanta, I want to say, Athens is Facebook, and we share some stuff on their Facebook, but Instagram for Macon.
All right, Chester Community and Miss Adrian Howard, they can get with you anywhere. Well, not anywhere, right? Tell them real quick, how can they get with you before I close
on
out?
Facebook, Adrian Howard, LMFT. Website really long, so check me out on Facebook.
Check out on Facebook and check us back right here every single Wednesday on Village Talks.
You've been listening to Village Talks with Tia and LJ. Join them live every Wednesday from 5:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. right here on the Glory 107.9 FM, 980 AM, WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
When life